time for a new dev update from me. Shadows of Doubt, we're working on a patch at the moment. It might actually be out by the time you hear this, quite possibly. We're looking at August. The patch is going to feature a couple of quality of life improvements. First off is the ability to turn off certain killer types that you may or may not like. So I know a lot of people weren't like that first on the kidnapping cases, or you might not want to deal with the sniper cases, so you can now turn them off, or only play them if that's what you want to do. That change will be on all platforms. And the second big one is some changes to the way objectives work that have previously caused a lot of confusion. The way they work at the moment, and have always worked in the game, is that when you get a case, for the most part, the case questions will appear as objectives on the right hand side of the screen. But some of the questions are stuff like arrest the kidnapper, and because the objectives on the right are just kind of a carbon copy of that question, they're not really like interactive. It kind of looks like even if you've arrested the kidnapper, it's not being checked off. And there's some similar scenarios like that where it just doesn't feel very intuitive. Like, it just doesn't feel like it's acknowledging your actions. It should be a lot more clear after this update. So yeah, it's a change that's been on the cards for a while, and it's much needed, I think. So that should help make the gameplay feel a little bit more refined and a bit more responsive to your actions as a player. And we've got the usual host of bug fixes as well. So yeah. And then the second part of this dev update I wanted to touch on, I think I mentioned it as something that might be impossible in the last dev update. And that is, this is going to get a bit technical, so it might be really boring, but some of you will know what I'm talking about. Way back when, and I think there's a dev blog on this, I decided to make Shadows of Doubt in Unity's high definition render pipeline, which at the time was brand new, and it was really fancy. It had loads of really fancy visual effects and lighting, and it looks really good. It's the main reason the game can look as good as it does, especially in regards to volumetrics and fog and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a decision I made a long time ago, with the kind of idea that Unity were going to constantly improve on the HDRP package, which they have, to be fair, but perhaps not quite as much as what is now known as the Universal Render Pipeline, which is the alternative to HDRP, which I'd guess about 90%, maybe more. That's just because it's way more performant, way more kind of universal, as the name implies, and it's just kind of a lot better supported in terms of because everyone else uses it basically. And I don't know what Unity's plans are, but it kind of feels that they're aiming to have URP as the only render pipeline, or certainly like the main one, because they support it very heavily. They keep adding to it, so it seems to be heading in a direction where that seems to be what Unity are pushing us towards. And of course, Shadows of Doubt being in HDRP, we're looking at converting the whole project to the Universal Render Pipeline. So what that would mean is that, what we're hoping for anyway, is that we can achieve a big performance boost by doing this. That's our main reason for doing it. What we won't want to do is sacrifice any visual quality. So what we're looking at doing is basically giving it a go, seeing where we end up, seeing what we can replicate in URP, hopefully making it as close to HDRP as possible. What I think is most likely going to happen is this version will sit on its own Steam branch that you'll be able to access if you want to basically choose performance over visuals. The disparity in those visuals is yet to be seen. We don't know what it's going to look like yet. In an ideal world, we'd have the new URP version look every bit as good as the old HDRP version, and if that's achievable in any way, then obviously we'd just have that as the default Steam version, and even on other storefronts as well. So we're going to see where we end up on this. We're going to convert the project to URP. We've already been working on that, and then see how good we can make it look, and hopefully, or almost certainly, this will carry some hefty performance benefits. If for whatever reason it doesn't, then we'll put a stop to this, because there's just literally no reason to do it. But that's the goal. So to sum up, we are looking at quite a radical revamp in terms of the rendering code on Shadows of Doubt to make it more performant. It won't touch any gameplay code, by the way. Like, it will literally won't change any gameplay. It's just purely graphical. So yeah, that's what we've been up to. We've been working on it for most of this year, actually. And yeah, we'll see where we end up. Hopefully we can eventually get a really good performance boost out of the game, which would be really, really cool. But we'll keep you updated. There's no real promises to this, and I don't really know how long it's going to take. But it's a really cool change that I think will, help a lot of people out on lower performance systems. So it should be really positive. And then aside from that, the new projects we're working on, which I mentioned last time, shaping up really well, but we're not ready to announce them yet. So not this time, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. Hope everyone is having a great summer.